wonderful Ellie Babei. Goedemorgen. Showing off my couple of fakkel here. Dziękuję, salut. My name is Ellie Babei, and I am the Languages Initiatives Officer at Lergus, which is my day job, and it involves promoting language learning through European exchanges. And my really short name has a really long story. And to cut a long story short, the name in my passport is much longer. It's Elisaveta. I grew up in Moldova, though, and I come from a Romanian-speaking family. And that name in my passport did not resonate with my Romanian identity. So people who spoke Russian as their mother tongue were calling me one name. And people who spoke Romanian as their mother tongue were calling me something else. Well, calling me names, essentially. So I decided to chop it and introduce myself as just Ellie, because these are the three words that the names had in common. And this way I was carving for myself my own identity, and I didn't have to be identified as either Romanian or Russian-speaking. I was just myself, while still preserving that Romanian identity somewhere deep inside without having to shout it out. So that is the story of my name, and I don't know whether little Ellie would approve of what I do now. I hope so. You see, when I was learning English in high school, I came up with this definition of what an expert is. And I really fancied it, and I decided that when I grow up, I'm going to be an expert. I wasn't sure an expert in what I'm going to become, but the definition went like this. An expert is someone who learns more and more about less and less until they know everything about nothing. So I decided to promote languages for European exchanges as an adult. And I lost my train of thought. So there you go, an expert, right. In my current job, I started learning more and more about the importance of multilingualism, of why we should nurture our plurilingual repertoire, why we should embrace the whole child when they come into school by allowing them to speak their native language. And more importantly, how do we do this in our classrooms, in our workplaces? How do we exercise this democratic freedom, and how do we embrace languages and build a more cohesive society? And while I was doing all of this research into going deeper and deeper and deeper into learning about these things, out of a sudden I come up with a few articles that actually say that there is a better way to relate to the concept of native languages other than mother tongues, which is, as Enya mentioned, today is International Mother Language Day. So instead of calling it mother tongues, a better and more inclusive way for the concept is home languages or heritage languages. So there you go, you thought you knew something. And because of the nature of my job, people assume that I speak loads of languages, and they ask me, so you must speak loads of languages, do you? And my first reaction is of terror, because out of a sudden I relate to a lot of the young people living in Ireland who may not want to venture on the European continent to travel or find jobs or study because they are terrified that they don't speak the language of the place, because I don't speak Irish. And also because I realize, like the young people to whom we try to promote European exchanges, I start becoming afraid because I actually don't speak even half of the languages that some of the people I know speak, which is in double digits. So I guess the imposter syndrome is there, no matter whether you speak a second language or not. So I thought that by chopping that name and by carving my own identity and by understanding more about others and myself through the medium of language learning and language sharing, that my saga of the name was done, was gone. That never happened. It's not gonna happen in Ireland, right? Short name, easy peasy. No, because I was on the phone with someone who was trying to spell my name, and you go letter by letter and you pronounce the name, and out of a sudden, it must have been the Irish crack coming out. I heard, Alibaba! So there you go. You can never run from yourself. You may carve a new name for yourself, but you'll still be called names. And you may learn about something about yourself and others, but at the end, an expert, I don't know, I may or may not become that. Koramagat, thank you so much.